Good Marvelous Monday, guys. Today we are taking a look at Blink Move. All right, you heard that right. So we are still using that season pass card. We are blinking our cards out and swarming the field with more stuff. So let's take a look at that deck list. First off, we have our ones. We have Nightcrawler at 1-2. That is the father of Nocturne. That is not her boyfriend. That is not her brother. That is her father, in case you do not know the lore. And then we have Kraven. Kraven benefits greatly from all of your move cards as he gains +2 every time a card moves to this location. And then we have Jeff, the best card in the game, at 2-3, moving wherever he wants, playing wherever he wants, doesn't care about the rules. And then, of course, we have Silk, our 2-5, so it's a pretty high-powered, low-cost card that moves around all over the place. Sometimes it'll win you the game, sometimes it will lose you the game, and it helps greatly with Kraven because it can keep bouncing onto the Kraven and making him bigger and bigger. You can get a 12+ power Kraven. And then Nocturne, the new card that was just introduced last week. I say last week, but I guess Sage was last week now at this point, right? So last week, Nocturne was introduced at 3-5. It took me 4 keys to get Nocturne. Very upset about that. But for those who do not know, Nocturne has the same ability as Nightcrawler, where she can move wherever she wants. And then she also has the ability of her mother, Scarlet Witch, where she changes the location. So if you did not understand why she can do what she does, now you know. It's because she is the daughter of Nightcrawler and Scarlet Witch, and she is basically the two cards combined. She is a 3-5, so she combined the 1-2 with the 2-3 and became a 3-5. And then, of course, our next 3-5, which we have a few of in the deck, is Polaris. Polaris allows you to move your opponent's cards, and it's only the low cost cards, but it can win you locations, especially things like the Space Throne and things like that. You can play Polaris and move maybe Zero, Iceman, whatever your opponent has played, and lock that location down on turn 3 and guarantee that zone. And then, of course, we have Spider-Man. Spider-Man is a very powerful card. It can win you games. He is similar to Shang-Chi, depending on what your opponent is playing. If they are on decks that rely on cards like Iron Man, on Wong, etc., he is quite powerful as he can move them and screw up their plan. He can also move Angela around and mess with your opponent's Angela so they can't get any boost from that. So Spider-Man is a great utility card in the deck. You need to play him wisely. Sometimes you might just have to slam him down because you have nothing else going on. But I do recommend making sure you use him to his greatest benefit. Do not waste Spider-Man if your opponent is on a combo deck. And then, of course, we have Miles Morales. Miles makes sense to play because every single card in this deck can move except for the Kraven, right? Every single low cost card in this deck can move except for Kraven. So the Spider-Man is great. The Miles Morales Spider-Man is great because he will be a 1-5. That is pretty powerful by itself. When you combine it with Blink, it takes it to another level. So let's say on turn 6, we did not draw Doom, we did not draw Alioth, we did not draw Magneto, or you drew 2 of them, but you need the last one. So you will throw down the Miles Morales and then blink it on turn 6 because it is a 1-5. Blink is a 5-7. That allows you to put down 12+ power up to 19 power on turn 6, depending on what Miles Morales blinks into. He can blink into the Doom, he can blink into the Alioth, he can blink into the Magneto. So that is a very, very powerful turn 6 play that can catch your opponent off guard when it happens. You can also play something like Spider-Man, etc., turn 4, and then, of course, blink on turn 5 and get 2 6-cost cards played, assuming Miles Morales is not in deck. So it is pretty powerful stuff. But I will say I was debating on whether or not to drop the blink for Shang-Chi. There were quite a few matchups where the opponent was just playing such big cards that I was like, I just can't win. I'm not going to be able to put out this much power. And a Shang-Chi would be really great here. But I think overall, the Blink is doing the job. So I tested this deck for quite a while before it got to a point where I was happy with it. So I decided to play just 3 6 cost cards. We played Doctor Doom to fill up the entire board with our 5/5/5 with the Doom bots. The other benefit of that is you can lock down an entire zone on turn 6. Let's say you have 3 cards in a zone, you play Doom, you fill up the zone, and now Silk or Spider Man or whatever can now not move to that zone. So you are guaranteed to control where the Silk will go at that point. And also, you are guaranteed to control where the Spider-Man will go if you doom on like turn 6 and there's a turn 7. You know, there's lots of different factors that can come into play here. And then, of course, we have the Alioth. Alioth was really big in the Legion move deck back when Alioth was unnerfed and just destroying everything. And it still comes in very strong. It gives you a good matchup versus Living Tribunal and other decks like that, especially since it's pretty easy to get priority when you have so many 5 body cards. We have the Silk, the Nocturne, the Polaris, the Spider-Man, the Miles Morales Spider-Man. There's so many 5/5/5s, they add up, and it's easy to win priority, so you can Alioth on the final turn. And then, of course, we have the Master of Magnetism, Magneto, for our big turn 6. You can play him on Kraven to slam lots of power. You can play him to move things to a location and steal a different location or steal that location, depending on what you move, correct? So Magneto is a very, very powerful card in this deck in that it can combo and it can just straight up steal the game like he's always been able to do. Swagnito, as we like to refer to him, is very strong. So for this deck, I did test it for the past week. We know Sage has been out for a week now, and I know Nocturne has been out for about 2 weeks, but I wanted to make sure the deck was working well, and it was a version of the deck that I was happy with before putting it out there. It started off as Cerebro 5. That went very poorly. Okay, there's too much RNG. There's no Valkyrie for this deck, so the Cerebro 5 just did not work out. There's too many zones make you lose the game. There's too many zones that are negative and mess up your power, and it just is not as strong as Cerebro 3. Simple as that. Fun deck, but I am not going to put out a video unless, I know this deck can win consistently because I want you guys to do well. I want you to be able to compete on the ladder to win those conquest modes. And this deck does pretty well in conquest, especially because it has a decent matchup versus Tribunal. You don't put out too much power, but the cards you do have can completely screw up the locations and where your opponent is playing his cards because you have things like Polaris and you have the Spider-Man. So you have to make sure you use them correctly. So the Hela matchup is not Hela, sorry, the Tribunal matchup is pretty good. The matchup versus Loki, on the other hand, is so because your cards are pretty low cost and you don't want to give them a handful of low cost 5s, right? Because that's essentially what will happen. So there is a trade off being good versus Tribunal, being so versus the good old Loki deck. And of course, there's the Red Skull, Shuri, Ultron, things like that. It's pretty good versus Ultron as well because of cards like Alioth and Spider Man ruining their plans. As well as Magneto. So it's pretty powerful to get the priority and then move things around. Go for the RNG Spider-Man, move on Iron Man, move on whatever, Alioth the Ultron, Alioth the Onslaught, things like that. So overall, I think the deck is pretty good. It does well. I'm not sure this will be a tier 1 deck, though. I will be completely honest with you. It's probably not tier 1, tier 1.5, 2 at best. But it can win. It can get you those golden tickets. It can get you those infinity tickets. It can help you climb the ladder because the deck has a lot of powerful plays. You just have to make sure you play them correctly. This is a pretty high ceiling deck. This is not Red Skull Shuri where we just slam down our big cards and hope for the best, okay? So thanks for watching, guys. We are going to jump into gameplay footage now, and you can see some of the plays, and you can see me misplaying. I know there's a couple where I misplayed, And overall, I think the deck is fun. Enjoy it. Remember to like, follow, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow for Time Wizard Tuesday if you like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Friendly with Spider-Man here. We are the future. Victory. Friendly with Spider-Man here. Victory. Friendly with Spider-Man here. We are the future. Victory. Friendly with Spider-Man here. We are the future. Victory. I am Iron Man. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here. Snap. New rules all. Victory. Opponent snapped. Such is my judgment. We are the future. I am Iron Man. Behold my mighty hand. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here. Victory. Opponent snapped. New rules all. I am Iron Man. Friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here.